Greetings, vintage sheet lovies. I'm Kimberly Quigley Single, and I wanted to touch upon a topic that's come up on the So Thrifted 2017 thread, hosted by Kelly at the Vintage Fabric Studio and Amanda from Gypsy Moon Quilts. We've been talking about what to do with worn vintage sheets, and I wanted to talk about a topic that really interests me, and that's over dyeing. Here I have a very beautiful blue rose vintage sheet. You'll notice that the top folded up sheet is the pillowcase, and it's quite a bit lighter than the top sheet. And I also have some very darling other sheets. One is a really pretty sweet cabbage rose whose pattern is a bit sparse than what we normally work with when we're working with our vintage sheets. And another sheet I'm going to be working with is this very cool retro flower power sheet. Very worn, but I think it'll come out nicely if we try to over dye it. So join me on the fun while we go through some simple steps in how to over dye our vintage sheets and reclaim them and make them usable. After washing your fabric with a pH neutral laundry soap, find one that you like. The next part of over dyeing is called scouring. All that you do is you take 1 tablespoon of washing soda and stick it into a gallon of water. Doesn't need to be warm, hot. Stir it around. And this is called scouring. And all you simply do is put your fabric, doesn't need to be dried, right out of the washer into the scouring bath. And all scouring is just stripping the fibers, opening them up so that you have a good bond with your dye. You can let it sit for about an hour, or you can play around with this process to see how you get different results in your dyeing. But this is the scouring process. Very simple. I'm going to wait an hour, and I'm going to come back, and we'll go on to the next process. Okay, now we get to the good stuff. I have already rinsed out all of the fabric after it was scoured. I just rinsed it out in regular water. I did pH test our water, and it is running, neutral is 7, and it is running 8.9, so it's slightly acidic, but I think for what I'm doing today, it's going to be okay. So what I'm going to do next is add our hot water. Temperature is over 180. And I'm using all secondhand things. I've gone to estate sales. You do not want to dye on your everyday cooking dishes. So everything is separate. These are all my dye utensils. I'm going to add in our color, which is a pink. I'm going to stir it. Just to make sure the color is incorporated. And because it's hot, I should put my gloves back on, or at least one of them. Should have had that on. Always have to think about safety. And then we're going to take our retro and stick that in there. And then I want our pretty cabbage roses. I'm going to stick that in there too. And I want to turn it around as best I can so that the fibers get coated. I'm okay if it's not even. I kind of like different folds and so forth to get a different look, especially with this one that has less images on there. And I'm going to see if I can put a smidge of this blue. It's looking kind of tight. I didn't test this before, so I apologize. I think I'm gonna add some more water because I calculated for more. I'm going to do 3 different colors so that you can see the outcome. Probably should not have done that, but anyway, I'm going to just move it around, make sure that blue gets coated, and then I'm going to stick a little glass lid on top and let it sit here for a half an hour. And periodically, I'm probably just going to come and mix it around. So that any little crevices, maybe I will rework it out. And then to make sure that it's all submerged, I want to get that air out. You can put things on top of it. I'm going to put a few of these stones, and then you're going to have to make sure that you, whoops, wash them out thoroughly before the next one. But I think my lid is going to push it down slightly anyway. Maybe not. So I'm going to let that soak for a half an hour, and we'll see what happens. Over dyeing with Kimberly Quigley Single. Okay, here we go with color number 2. I'm changing the shot a little bit. We're going to go with a fuchsia pink. The last one was more of a softer pink, and it has a little dab of purple. Got to get some purple power in there. So I have a little bit of salt. I'm going to experiment with this one and add some salt to see if that does anything. Again, adding the hot water. This was over 200 degrees when I tested it. It sat for a little bit. But you want to make sure you try to have your water 180 degrees and or above. And I didn't mention this, but I am using, let's get that salt mixed in before we get the color. I'm using non-toxic but synthetic dyes because our sheets are not 100% natural. They are a mix of cotton and polyester, and this is how we're doing it today. You'll see more of how I naturally dye things with fruits and plants on other videos. Just trying to get the dye out of my measuring cup here. Yeah. Little bits of plain fabrics. I will cover this and wait at least another half an hour. Then we'll move on to the next color, which will be purple. Are we ready for some purple power? Yeah, ladies, you know I like purple. So here's the salt. Dissolving the salt first. Ready? Oh, purple. Yeah. Woohoo. It's very dark. Okay. Gonna stir it. Oh, it's very dark. Using our same 3 fabrics, Flower Power, pink cabbage roses on white, and here is our pillowcase. I saved the pillowcase for purple. It is dark and soupy. Okay, everything is dry and I washed out each of the items in the dye pots and I let them dry overnight, and today is show time. I'm going to end with some stills of the end product. I think that shows it a little bit better than me holding them up, but I sure did enjoy making these little tutorials and learning what to do and not to do, but it's been such a blast, and I hope that you will join me when I add some other fabric dyeing tutorials on YouTube. Look for me, Kimberly Quigley Single, at Quirky Cottage Shenanigans for more information about how to do ice dyeing, natural dyeing with fruits and plants, and other fun things. How to do a little bit of shibori tying and folding. So I have all kinds of things cooked up for you to enjoy. Thank you so much to Kelly and Amanda for their hosting of the So Thrifted 2017, and I hope you have a super day. Thanks.